Here to talk more about that now is Assemblyman Billy Jones. Good to see you. Welcome.
Good to see you as well.
We just heard you and what you had to say earlier in the week when you heard the news. You're clearly angry and frustrated that the border restrictions have been extended for another month.
You know, at the beginning of this, Tom, we understood why the border was closed. We understood the restrictions. We were in the midst of a global pandemic. But the excuse that we're getting now is we're not getting one. We're not getting an answer on why this continuous closure every 30 days, it's just nothing. And the same day that they say the border is closed 30 days, see you later, no plan, goodbye, they come out with another policy that says come November, we're going to open up to more travelers via air to virtually any country in the world. Our friends and neighbors to the north, and we know them. We haven't seen them in a while, but we know them. They can't get in a car and come down here, in a family car, can't come down here to visit their second homes, to recreate here, to visit loved ones, that they haven't seen in 18 months. It makes no sense. There is no logic behind this, and we're getting nothing out of the administration on it. We've said for several months, give us a phased-in approach. We can work with this. You know, give us something. Obviously, it's not on their radar, and it's very disappointing.
And we don't have any idea why it's not on their radar.
We're not getting an answer from anybody. When you have the majority leader in the United States Senate, Senator Schumer, and he was here, you were there, when he came up several months ago and said, let's open this border, let's get a plan in place, let's do this, and there's been nothing out of the administration on this. I mean, come on, what else can we do? We're not going to give up, certainly, because it's too important, but we need some answers here, and we need something to go on, some kind of phased-in approach. Give us something, but it just doesn't seem to be on the radar of the administration and Homeland Security whatsoever.
Not even after Canada a month ago, a little more than a month ago, started allowing us, Americans, to go back into Canada.
Yes, it doesn't make any sense. There has been no benchmarks. There's been no talk of if we get to this vaccination rate, we'll open it. If we get to this mark, we'll open it. If this happens, we'll open it. There's been nothing. It's been nothing out of this administration, and it's so disheartening to the people that live in these border communities on both sides of the border that we're getting nothing out of the American administration on this.
And I know a couple of weeks ago, State Senator Dan Steck and a few Clinton County legislators called on Kathy Hochul, the new governor, to see if maybe she could do something to reach out to the Biden administration. Have we heard whether she has tried to do that and tried to influence the president on this?
I haven't heard whether she has. I have reached out as well to her administration to see if they could do something or at least, get an answer or get something out of the Biden administration on this. I know several border governors have done this. She is very new in the position. We know Mr. Cuomo, it didn't seem to be on his radar much either, which was very disappointing. But we're certainly encouraging her to reach out to the Biden administration, as many governors along the border have done.
And again, the frustrating thing for you and a number of other people is that right from the beginning of the pandemic, Canadians have been able to fly. They've had to have a negative COVID test, but that's really all they've needed. They can fly into Plattsburgh, and as we saw, many did.
And it's frustrating, and it seems as though this policy is a bit discriminatory upon people that can't afford to fly or don't have the time to fly over here. Now think about that. You can get on an airplane full of people, and we've all been on airplanes. You're pretty closed in, you're pretty tight, but you can't get in your car. Our Canadian neighbors, friends and neighbors to the north, can't get in their car, and they can't drive up here. It's just ridiculous. I don't even have words to describe it anymore.
2 full summers now without Canadian tourists and visitors.
And a fall season. We're in October 21st now.
And when we talked with Gary Douglas with the Chamber the other day, he says his feeling now is that it may be the end of the year before there could be any movement whatsoever. Yeah. Mark Henry, the chair of the Clinton County Legislature, said that the loss of the tax revenue over the past 18 months hasn't been as devastating as many people feared it would be, that they're still feeling it, but not as bad as it could have been.
I will say, in the North Country here, we've done a pretty good job. Local businesses and people have done a pretty good job at catering to a different clientele, maybe from downstate, maybe from other states that have come up here during the pandemic. That's kind of been a silver lining. You never want to say there's a silver lining in a pandemic, but a silver lining for some of those businesses.
Speaking of COVID, we're seeing a rise in the number of cases and sadly deaths once again in recent weeks. The good news is a lot of people have been vaccinated. So even if they do get the virus, in most cases, they're protected from getting very sick or dying from COVID. But the percentage of people fully vaccinated is still about 60% in the Tri-County area, the Clinton, Essex, Franklin County areas. And is that a concern?
It's disappointing. It really is. I can only say we've had well over 600,000 Americans that have died from COVID. I don't know of anybody that has died from the vaccine. I don't know of any legitimate reason why somebody would not get the vaccine. I just don't know the reluctance behind it. Science says the vaccine works. Get the vaccine. So I don't know. I guess there's some political reason.
A lot of myths and misinformation on social media.
Social media has been, this is one thing where we can say social media has added to those myths. But I look at our generations in the past, people that got the polio vaccination. I look at how our country actually was founded. We won the Revolutionary War, and do you know what George Washington mandated his soldiers to do so we could have an advantage and not get sick over the British? Get the vaccination for smallpox, 1776. Remember that? So I can't see where the most scrutinized vaccination in the history of our being, obviously, I can't see the reluctance of that. I just can't. People, go to your doctor, get the straight answers. We have to do this. We have to get vaccinated. There's no good reason not to.
What more can we do to get people vaccinated?
I don't know. Keep saying, what I just said. Go to health professionals, go to your doctors, go to this, get the facts behind it. Don't go on the internet. Don't go on social media for the facts behind the vaccination. I don't know how else we get out of this. If you can come to me with an answer on that, on how else we get out of this besides getting vaccinated, I would love to hear it. But right now, the vaccination is our best shot to get over this and get out of this.
Kathy Hochul, of course, sworn in as governor about a month ago. How's she doing as far as handling of COVID?
I think, she's doing what she's following her health experts or her, the health department, New York State Health Department. She has said she's going to do that, follow CDC guidelines.
Are you hopeful with her in office now that she might prioritize some issues that perhaps Andrew Cuomo didn't, that are important to the North Country?
Certainly. There's a litany of issues, but I think at the top of those, we need to keep advocating to get broadband internet and cell phone coverage for everyone here in the North Country.
And was the sense that with the governor with Governor Cuomo, that wasn't as much of a priority?
We know that we're not there because we live in these areas. I just think the former administration, they said they did it, which we were all happy with the program that came in. The $1 billion program, private, public partnership. But I think they checked off the box and they were just, that was it. We knew the difference. We knew that there wasn't those connections out there. And I think the comptroller's report put a lot of that out of there.
And you mentioned Tom DiNapoli's report came out a couple of weeks ago. Even with the satellite, didn't he peg the North Country at about still 20% population that doesn't have access to
yes.
internet?
20% that do not have access to internet. That's including satellite, because they included satellite in the numbers. And, that's not acceptable. We need to continue to work on that.